Imagine a weapon traveling faster than most bullets, carrying over 3,000 pounds of explosives, capable of striking targets 1,240 miles away. Now, imagine it's designed specifically to evade the world's most advanced missile defense systems. This isn't science fiction. This is Iran's Khorramshahr, and it's changing the balance of power in the Middle East. Recent threats from Tehran have brought renewed attention to what military analysts are calling Iran's most formidable weapon. As internal protests rock Iran and tensions with the United States and Israel reach new heights, Iranian leaders have made it clear this missile is ready to be used. But what makes the Khorramshahr so dangerous? Can it actually be stopped, and why should the world be paying attention right now? Stay with me, because what you're about to learn will completely change how you understand the current crisis in the Middle East. First, let's talk about the name itself, because it tells us everything about Iran's intentions. Khorramshahr is a city in southwestern Iran that was absolutely devastated during the Iran-Iraq War of the 1980s. For Iranians, this city represents resilience, sacrifice, and ultimately revenge against those who tried to destroy them by naming their most powerful missile after this city. Iran is sending a clear message. They haven't forgotten, and they're prepared to strike back. The missile also goes by another name. This refers to a 7th century Jewish fortress in what is now Saudi Arabia, conquered by Muslim forces. The symbolism here is unmistakable and deliberately provocative, especially given Iran's ongoing conflict with Israel and Saudi Arabia. But beyond the symbolism, the technology itself is what keeps military planners in Washington and Tel Aviv awake at night. Standing 13 meters tall, roughly the height of a 4-story building, the Khorramshahr was unveiled to the world in May 2023. But its capabilities are what truly set it apart. Range 2,000 kilometers, or about 1,240 miles. This puts every single US military base in the Middle East within striking distance. Iraq, Kuwait, Qatar, the United Arab Emirates, and of course, Israel. All of them are well within range. But here's where it gets terrifying. The warhead capacity, Iranian officials claim it can carry up to 1,500 kilograms of explosives. That's over 3,000 pounds. To put that in perspective, that's roughly the weight of a small car, packed with high explosives, traveling at hypersonic speeds. And speaking of speed, well, the title mentions 12,000 miles per hour. Medium-range ballistic missiles like this typically reach speeds between 10,000 to 15,000 miles per hour during their terminal phase. At these velocities, you have mere minutes from launch to impact. The window for interception is incredibly narrow. The missile uses liquid fuel, which allows for higher thrust and rapid acceleration compared to solid fuel alternatives. This shortened flight time is intentional. The faster the missile reaches its target, the less time defense systems have to react. Now, here is what makes the Khorramshahr particularly concerning for defense planners. It is designed specifically to defeat interception systems. Iran claims the missile features a maneuverable warhead. This means that during its final descent, it can actually change course, making it exponentially harder for systems like Israel, SRO defense, or American Patriot batteries to lock on and destroy it. Think of it like this. Traditional ballistic missiles follow a predictable arc, like throwing a ball. Defense systems calculate that trajectory and position interceptors along that path. But a maneuverable warhead is like a ball that can suddenly curve mid-flight. It breaks the mathematical models that defense systems rely on. According to Iranian state media, the missile can strike up to 80 different targets upon reaching the target area. Whether this means it carries multiple warheads or can be launched in coordinated salvos remains unclear. But either scenario presents a nightmare for defensive operations. The missile was developed by Iran's state-owned Aerospace Industries Organization, which has been under international sanctions for years. Yet somehow, they've continued advancing their capabilities. This isn't just a theoretical weapon gathering dust in some Iranian warehouse. The Khorramshahr 4 has already been used in actual combat operations. According to Iran's Revolutionary Guard, the missile was deployed during the Sadiq Promise, Un Minuto and Sadiq Promise to feet attacks in April and October 2024. These massive strikes on Israel involved approximately 180 missiles and were carried out in retaliation for the assassinations of Hezbollah leader Hassan Nasrallah and IRGC Commander Abbas. More recently and more alarmingly, the Khorramshahr 4 was reportedly among the missiles used to target Israel after the United States struck 3 of Iran's nuclear facilities in June 2025. This represents a direct escalation in the ongoing shadow war between these nations. Each use provides Iran with valuable data. How well do Israeli defenses perform? What trajectories are most effective? What percentage actually reach their targets? Here is something most news outlets will want to tell you. Iran did undevelop this missile entirely on their own. According to intelligence assessments, the Khorramshahr 4 is modeled after North Korea's Musudan ballistic missile. This isn't just technology sharing, it's evidence of a concerning alliance between two of the world's most sanctioned nations. The North Korean Musudan reportedly has a range of up to 4,000 kilometers with a lighter payload. Iran appears to have adapted this design, sacrificing some range for a much heavier warhead, optimizing it specifically for regional conflicts rather than intercontinental strikes. This cooperation between Iran and North Korea represents a multiplication of threats. Technologies developed in Pyongyang can rapidly appear in Tehran and vice versa. So here's a billion-dollar question. Can the Khorramshahr 4 actually be stopped? Have you ever wondered how you stop a missile traveling at thousands of miles per hour? Let's break down the incredibly complex challenge of missile defense, especially against a modern, maneuverable threat like Iran's Khorramshahr 4. Defending against a ballistic missile happens in 3 phases. First is the boost phase. Right after launch, this is the best time to intercept because the missile is slow, hot, and predictable. But you have to be very close, which is rarely possible. Next is the mid-course phase, where the warhead is coasting through space. This is where systems like the Israeli Arrow and the American Aegis and Dodge systems come into play. They launch interceptors to collide with the incoming threat high above the atmosphere. Finally, there's the terminal phase. As the warhead re-enters the atmosphere, hurtling towards its target, this is the last chance for defense, using systems like the Patriot missile. But what makes a missile like the Khorramshahr 4 so tough to stop? 2 things: maneuverability and saturation. Its warhead can change course, making it a nightmare for interceptors to predict its path. And if an attacker launches multiple missiles at once, a saturation attack, they can overwhelm even the best defenses. No system is 100% effective. There is always a chance of leakers missiles that get through. It's a high-stakes game of probability and technology, where even a single failure can have devastating consequences. The constant race between offensive missile technology and defensive capabilities is one of the most critical challenges in modern security. The Khorramshahr 4 represents more than just another weapon in Iran's arsenal. It is a statement of strategic intent and a challenge to the military balance that has governed the Middle East for decades. With a range that threatens every US installation and ally in the region, a payload heavy enough to cause catastrophic damage, and design features specifically intended to penetrate advanced defenses, this missile changes the calculus of conflict. As tensions continue to escalate with internal protests in Iran, threats from the Trump administration, and ongoing Israeli operations, the possibility of these weapons being used again isn't hypothetical. It's increasingly likely. The real question isn't just whether the Khorramshahr 4 can be stopped in theory, but whether in the chaos of actual conflict with dozens or hundreds of missiles in the air, simultaneously existing defense systems can stop enough of them to prevent catastrophic damage. That's a question nobody wants to answer through real-world testing. But given the current trajectory, we might not have a choice.